McGregor has revealed that he has 2 fights left on his UFC contract. Now, what does that mean? What are we to make of it, if anything? It was a headline on one of the dirt sheets I went to, but the more I stared, I'm going, I don't know that I fully understand the point. Is the point that Conor is going to fight 2 more times? Is the point that if Conor fights 2 more times, he can then go off and compete somewhere else and do free agency? It's always a tough spot for an athlete, which is, what is your motivation? And I could name them easily, the fighters who throughout history have said, this is going to be my last one, I might retire after this. Now, none of them did it. None of them met it, but there was some kind of a dangling for the audience, and it might have been marketing. Anderson Silva comes to mind. Jose Aldo comes to mind. And this goes back, Jose was saying, like 2014. He's going, well, this could be my last fight. You guys might remember, but Jose set the world on fire. I believe he had 11 years, undefeated, WEC champion, UFC champion, all these different things. But he was talking about, this could be my last fight. And I never knew if that was, one, psychologically for the audience. Make sure you tune in, right? The old lesson of supply and demand. This could be my last one. Come on out and watch me. Or 2, it was a way for these greats, and Anderson and Jose, these greats, to try to compartmentalize for themselves, to make sure they weren't biting off too much than they can chew, to make sure they didn't have the weight of the world on their shoulders, to express aloud, not only to the audience, but internally, it can all be over anytime. Because one thing that they do have in common, the people that you will trace back who have been saying this is the last one, it wasn't just they wanted people to beg them to stick around. Oh, no, you have so much more. Please stick around. That is a piece of it for sure. But there's a message that they're having with themselves. It's a way of, look, I can't fight everybody, and everybody's coming after me, and I can't deal with you all. I'm going to just focus and zero in on this one. But one commonality, the guys that do have, if I go back over the last decade and look at the ones that said it, they never meant it, and they're not done, but now you're trying to search for that hunger. And I will tell you, I was given some advice as a little kid. It was from an All-American named Glenn Naradka. All Glenn said is he got to the national tournament with a goal of being an All-American. Once he made it to the All-American round, he could not then change and go, no, wait a minute, I want to be the champion. It was too late. He had set a goal. He achieved his goal. He couldn't, in the moment, go on to a championship. Now, whether that's a real thing in sports psychology or not, I believed it because Glenn said it. I think there's something there with athletes, and it's very tough, and you've got to really remember what is your focus, what is your drive, and what is your motivation, because it will go away. And if all of that was just money, once you make some money, what do you do? It was to be the world champion. Once you become the world champion, what do you do? Where's that drive? Where's that hunger? How do you focus in on one? If you look at guys like Floyd Mayweather, aside from his defensive boxing, aside from that left hand that he lands, and aside from digging to the body, you've got to admire the fact that he was able to get it up time after time. He was able to find that motivation to get into the gym, to prepare, to sign the contract, to walk out there, to win those rounds, and to be successful. Your ability to extend your career is a tremendous story to tell. There'll be seminars and there'll be DVDs, and fighters will come into gyms and they'll impart their knowledge on their footwork, or slipping outside, or coming down to a double, or where do I go in relationship to my hips and my head, and where are my hands at? Is my elbow in or is my elbow out? There's all these things that fighters will take away, all sports in fairness. But that mental side of it is one that's very hard to rhetorically relay to somebody else.